And we're back once again, only on It Is Last Call. Last Call of the Alcohol, only on the Last Call Podcast.com. And joining me here once again, we love having him on because he's not afraid to dissect the fights, tell us what's going on, give us insight, and tell us all the goody stuff that's happening on the world of mixed martial arts. So I give to you the man with the plan who tells it everything like it is and then some. I give you from MMA Oddsbreaker podcast and Eurosport, UFC Eurosport and Eurosport DL. I give you Marcel Dorff. So Marcel, start off here with it was UFC Paris this Saturday. Main event right off the bat. We thought it was gonna be close. We thought it was gonna be, we were unsure who was gonna win. Nassourdine Imavov defeated Caio Borralho in a dominant 5-round fashion. So let's start off here with the big question. Did he do enough to get a world title shot?
So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I would think so. The thing is, like, Imavov, listen, he beat Adesanya last time, and that made him the #1 contender. So then Khamzat fought DDP. Khamzat won, but Khamzat was ranked, I think 6 or 5. So he went to the championship, to the champion spot. So DDP went to 1. So Imavov is now #2, but he's pretty much the #1 contender because DDP is not going to get a rematch. So yeah, he had to defend his contender spot pretty much to Caio Borralho last night. And yeah, man, I mean, was it spectacular? No. But was it clear? Yeah. I thought he won at least 3 of the 5 rounds, probably 4. I only think Borralho's clear round was the 3rd round, I think, and the first round was kind of competitive, but overall, Imavov was better, man. So I think he did enough. If you look at the resume, who he beat, yeah, I think he did enough. I know 2 guys are looking like behind like Renier de Ridder and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Like, if we can get a great win, maybe we will. But I think the UFC should give it to Imavov next. I think he deserves it. I'm not even the biggest Imavov fan, you know that, but I think he deserves it based on what he has shown so far.
Where you said Borralho didn't do much takedowns. He didn't try to move wrestling, force Imavov to the ground. Like, there were times it almost seemed like he went punch for punch with Imavov, which I'm guessing if they were Imavov, you're going, hey, yeah, but let's do this. Let's keep it standing. Let's throw kicks and punches. This is my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I mean, that was perfect for Imavov, of course. The thing is, like, I expected Borralho to have more success with the takedown attempts and with the ground game, but he wasn't even able to get Imavov to the ground. And then you have to play pretty much Imavov's game, and Borralho is decent as a striker, but he's not on the level of Imavov, in the striking department. So if you cannot take it to the ground, it got really difficult. I also think he looked pretty flat, Borralho. I'm not used to that with Borralho, And a lot of people were saying to me, like, maybe it had something to do with the weight cut he did 2 or 3 weeks ago for the title fight as a backup, And now again, it's possible, but still, that's on him, if he did it or not. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he looked great, but everybody can have a bad day at the office. He didn't lose for 10 years, I think. So yeah, he will be back for sure, but it wasn't a good showing. I think he knows that as well. And yeah, Imavov did what he had to do, and he did well. So I have to take my hat off to him.
Did Imavov do anything to give you pause for, well, hey, this guy can actually be Khamzat. He can knock off a king? Or when you look at Imavov, do you look at this and go, this is going to be Khamzat, just take down, ground and pound, and just keep this, rinse and repeat till the cows come home?
So yeah, here's the funny thing, right? I think Imavov deserves a title shot. I don't think he will have a lot of success against Khamzat. I think, for example, that Renier de Ridder and Fluffy would have more success against Khamzat than Imavov does, but he deserves it based on what he has showed, in my opinion. But I don't see him winning against Chimaev, man. I really don't, and I think that will be. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong about Imavov so many times already, but maybe I think that would be like. I don't want to say easy because that's not really disrespectful then, but I think Chimaev rolls against Imavov, to be really honest, man. But I mean, the thing is, like, a lot of people will be saying also maybe like, yeah, but it's more interesting to see Fluffy against Imavov or Fluffy against Chimaev or the Ritter against Chimaev. Yeah, I agree with that. But at the same time, you cannot overlook the guy who was the number one contender, and beat Adesanya, beat Borralho. And to be honest, listen, for example, if Fluffy wins, and let's say Fluffy wins in an impressive way, that's still Fluffy's best win. Then it's the Ritter, maybe, but the Ritter is not in the top five, And or maybe he's just, I'm not sure, but he's not like he hasn't. He only fought Whitaker as a top guy right now, And with Fluffy Hernandez, his best win, most likely Dolice, but Imavov also beat Dolice, So yeah, it's difficult. And the UFC, they go more at the entertaining value than the sportive perspective value. I mean, it's difficult, man. The thing is, like, it wasn't really a fun matchup or a fun fight, But sometimes you got to cut the fun out. You got to be more tactical and stuff. But I think he did well, Imavov. But it wasn't spectacular or anything.
Well, so on the heels of it being a French night, we go from Imavov winning by a very impressive unanimous decision to Benoit Saint-Denis. He went out there, he took on Mauricio Ruffy in second round face crank submission. That Paris crowd was going wild. He won some bonus money. All right. Did you have that on the bingo card? Was that one of those things that you saw happening, or were you even shocked? Like, holy crap! He submitted Ruffy, who, the guy would come in there and he was on a 7-fight win streak. Only loss was to Manuel Sosa all the way back in 2019. Was even in the UFC? Like, is this a shocker? Is this one of those matches you're going, holy crap? This is kind of a shocker here.
I don't want to be cocky, but I called that BSD was going to win. You can actually
Of
listen to
course.
it. Sorry?
I said, of course. You're always one
Yeah.
step ahead of me.
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the Oddsbreaker podcast, so I have evidence before people say like he didn't. But the thing was like, what I looked at before the fight was like, if this fight keeps standing, I think Ruffy has the upper hand on him. But BSD didn't look good in two big fights for him. Poirier, that was mostly his biggest fight, Then looked bad against Moicano last year in Paris. Fought Prepolic. He won that fight, should have won that fight, obviously. And now he's fighting in France again. He's not going to stand and bang with this guy, He knows he needs to win here, If he loses, he's out of the rankings. It's in front of his home crowd. And if you look at Ruffy's fight so far, he's good standing, but he hasn't really fought a grappler in the UFC. And we've seen him fight a grappler in the Contender Series and Raymond Magomedaliev, the training partner of Islam. And he won that fight in the third round late for a stoppage, TKO. But that was because Magomedaliev completely gassed in the last 3 minutes, Before that, he was down on two scorecards, 20-18, because of the grappling, So I was like, if BSD grapples with him, I think Ruffy is fucked, And it actually happened, and I'm off many times, so I'm not going to take too much credit for it, but I really felt like if BSD can get this guy to the ground, he will either win a decision or he catches him with a submission, one of the two, So yeah, it wasn't really shocking to me, I understand that for a lot of people it was shocking because Ruffy was hyped up as that next big thing, that amazing guy. I think he's a really fun fighter still, he's a great fighter, but man, people now saw, there are a lot of people don't watch the Contender Series, but people all over the world now saw where is like where he shortens in this MMA, and that's grappling. So I think the UFC has to make sure to match him up with good opposition if they want to build him again, because many guys are going to try to take him to the ground. So, but yeah, great win for BSD, man. I mean, he needed this one. Obviously, if he doesn't win this one, he's out of the rankings, and he will become like a random French rider on the roster. But now he can go back and fight somebody in top 10 again, So yeah, good win for him, man. And he was like in charge almost the whole fight. There was like one moment early in the second round where Ruffy came through with some shots, but overall BSD owned this fight. So yeah, good for him, man.
So who do you give Benoit Saint Denis next? Do you give him Michael Chandler? Do you give him Paddy Pimblett? Do you give him Rafael Fiziev? Like who does he earn after this fight?
I give him Michael Chandler. Why not? Michael Chandler has no fight booked at this moment. And And Michael Chandler, and that's also a good thing for Michael Chandler to prove that he actually still belongs in the top 15, you know, because I'm not sure if he does. So yeah, why not put that on the pay-per-view? 3 fights or 3 rounds. Put it on the pay-per-view, and you have a good fight. Why not?
All right. For Ruffy, who do you give him? I mean, because they still have high hopes in this kid. So, what do you do if you're the UFC for Ruffy?
The UFC gonna book Ruffy with a guy who is not very good on the ground and prefers to keep the fight standing. So you can pick pretty much every 155er in the division, you know, who has like decent stand-up and pretty bad grappling skills. So that's what they're probably going to do, because this guy still has some hype behind him. People like this guy a lot, you know, and he has a fun style, you know. So yeah, I don't have a name for you right now, but they're going to give him somebody who is not really good of a grappler, not really a high-level grappler, because they don't want to see him lose twice in a row.
Well, if they've, and this is not me, this is hyperbole from Sherdog, but hey, this Axel Sola kid, they say, hey, he's giving off Conor McGregor vibes. And what does he do in his home in the main event? Knocks out Reese McKee, TKO, body shot to ground strike. Crowd's eating him up. He's 11-0-1. Marcel, do we get the French Conor McGregor on our hands?
I don't think so, man. Bisping said that during the commentary, but I think he was already a few points in probably. But I mean, Axel, listen, I cannot say anything bad about the dude, because he took the fight on short notice, a weight class up, and he beat Reese McKee, and he stopped him. So got to give him credit for that, you know. But I wasn't really impressed, to be honest. I don't think that fight was great at all, you know. I felt like it was really like going all around the place. And yeah, but a good win for Sola, man. I cannot say anything bad about him. You know, you take a fight on short notice, a weight class up, and you beat Reese McKee. He actually finished him. I thought it was a horrible stoppage by Herb Dean, but besides that, I think he would have finished him with some more punches probably. But yeah, Sola was anyways. He was winning. He was 2018 on 2 of the 3, or maybe 3 scorecards, so he was going to win anyways. Yeah, solid debut. What can you say? You know, guy comes from Aries as a champion. But he will probably go down back to 155 after this fight, I think.
All right, so who do you give him next?
Yeah, you can basically match him up with anybody, because he hasn't fought anybody in the UFC yet. You know, Reese McKee, listen, that's 170, so you have to look to 155. Man, 155 is there are a lot of talented guys at 155, man. I mean, from the top of my on my head, I wouldn't give him somebody in the top 20 yet, you know. I would still.
So, in other words, like no Jim Miller, no Bobby Green.
No. Yeah, Bobby Green maybe. There's a possibility. If you want to have him fight against how do you say that? Against an established name, or somebody who has been a long time in the UFC, it's possible. Man, I mean, there are so many options for him at 155. So you can basically, it's the thing what the UFC wants with him. He's an undefeated guy. Do they want to build him up, or they want to see what he has already? You know, if he can already mix it up with the top 20 in the division. I think they're going to try to slow bring him up in the 155. We'll see, man. I don't know yet. We'll have to see.
Well, for Umar Sy, let's face it, this was a pretty big win for your farm. I mean, he went out there and he just, let's see, what happened here? Oh, yes. Went out there, knocked the guy out, basically took care of business. So is Omar Sy for real now? Is this one of those guys you're looking at going, okay, he is legit?
The problem I have with Umar Sy is that he is like, he had also a lot of hype when he came in the UFC, and a lot of his fights have been very underwhelming, you know. I think the Alonzo Manifield fight, which he lost, was super bad from his side. You know, I expected much more from him, you know. And this fight, he looked good, you know, but it was against a guy in Branson Ribeiro who has like a suspect chin, who came back in that Nurgosai fight where he got the Kimura win. Got easily finished by Murzakanov in his last performance. I think Ribeiro is good. It's not a bad fighter, but overall he's not like top level, you know. And I felt that C was going to win, man. So I wasn't really surprised. I think it was good from him that he finished him early. So that's a development, I think, there. But I mean, the last time he got the chance to climb in the rankings, man, he shit the bed against Alonso Manifield, man. He looked really bad, in my opinion. So maybe that was just a bad night at the office. Give him another shot against somebody in the top 15. I don't mind, you know. Match him up with Dustin Jacoby or guys somewhere around the top 15. I heard people saying Zhang Mingyang. I would be surprised if the UFC does that because I think they want to build both guys. But I would be good for that. Would be good for me as well. You know, I don't mind.
How much does the UFC want Umar Sy to do well? Because he's 12-1. They've been giving him fun fights. You know, we're not going to give you any of these grapplers. Or try to give you any guys who are going to take you down, use submissions. We want you to just have fun fights and knock people out. That's why he's 12-1. So if you're the UFC, do they keep this up? Do they go overlord? I mean, do they even just go, hey, let's throw Jamal Hill in there? Because Jamal Hill seems to be on the decline. Imagine if Umar Sy knocks him out. Oh my God, we could get 205 big. We could get after Alex Pereira takes care of business. We get Alex Pereira versus Umar Sy, Perry France. Ha 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 ha.
But to be really honest, man, I think Hill will have a striking advantage against Umar Sy. To be honest, I think Umar's better on the ground overall, you know. But yeah, I wouldn't be against that fight. You know, why not? Hill has looked great as of lately. I mean, and Umar Sy, yeah, I mean, they can make that fight. And as long as the UFC is going every year to France, they want to see the France fighters do well. So, yeah, they can do it. I have no problem with it. Make the fight. I mean, makes you happy, and I'm okay with it. So, yeah, no problem.
Speaking of happy, this makes me really happy. And if you're seeing this, yes, it's heavyweights, it's knockouts, it's just big meaty men throwing ham hocks. And I know you have a diversion to heavyweights. You were probably still campaigning on let's get rid of heavyweights from the UFC, more flyweights, not happening here. But that's what we saw. Ante Delija knocking out Marcin Tybura in the first round. Uppercut, ground punches. Delija then was absolutely on cloud nine. There was maybe some tears of happiness, and his partner was checking him out. I mean, how could you not love this, Marcel? Even you, who does not like heavyweights, how could you not love that match?
If you come in the UFC like Ante Delija and you do this, you have all my support, dude. I mean, this guy came in the fight. He fought Tybura 10 years ago in M1, lost because he broke his leg in the fight. He got this opportunity from the UFC to fight Tybura in a rematch, and he came in to destroy him. Pretty much, you know, Tybura could have prolong it a little bit because he clinched with him against the cage, but man, Delia's hand speed was quick as well, man. I mean, I was surprised for a heavyweight how quick he punched. He looked really good, man. He's training with Tom Aspinall, along with Tom Aspinall, and also with Martin Buday, I think, with that Koban team. He looked really good. This is the way you come in the UFC. You get an opportunity to fight somebody in the top 15, and make a statement, man. I think he looked really good. And the thing is, like, he trains now with Tom Aspinall, which is funny because if he does this 2 times more, he might be Tom Aspinall's next opponent. You know, that's how the heavyweight division is now. You know, there is not a lot of like contenders, and he made a name for himself in Paris, man. He looked really good. And yeah, really good finish over a well-respected veteran in the UFC like Marcin Tybura, who is still number 7, I think, in the division. So yeah, all credits to Ante Delija. Yeah, much respect.
So who does he get next? Because off the top of my head, I was thinking this fun fight. You might not like it because you're like, oh God, neither of these guys have much like ground game or wrestling or leg locks, but they're just 2 big meaty men who know how to throw heavy shots. Tai Tuivasa versus Ante Delija, just 2 big men just trying to throw some uppercuts, trying to knock somebody's somebody the next week. Sell me on this fight, Marcel, because I look at this fight if I'm UFC going, Ooh, this is fun. Ooh, we could put this on
Yeah,
the main card. Ooh, we could get rid of a couple of those flyweight fights and have this kind of fight that has the crowd going nuts.
I'm not gonna sell you on that fight for the simple reason that Ty cannot make 265 probably for now. The guy looks like he's 400 pounds right now. He looks like me pretty much. So I mean, I want to see Delia against a legit good heavyweight, you know. And Tai Tuivasa is on an 0-4 streak or whatever. I don't even know why he's ranked, to be real. And I like Ty. I have nothing against the guy. But no, I really do. And listen, you've got to be honest, you know. I mean, he's a fun guy and he's a really pleasant dude, you know. But his fights as of lately look really bad, you know. And I think Delia deserves somebody like a fucking Curtis Blades, even an Alexander Volkov, you know. Maybe the loser of Volkov Almeida, you know. Give him that step up in competition that he probably needs, you know. And imagine he wins that fight. Then he may be next for the title shot. But a win against Tuivasa, yeah, it's maybe a fun fight, but it doesn't do anything for him if he wins that fight, you know. I want to see him against the better guys. I think Tibura was around number 7, you know, and there are a lot of guys above him who are like interesting for Delia, I think, you know. Fuck, why not give him Curtis Blades? Blades didn't look good in his last fight against Kuniev, you know. He barely won, he got the win, but the UFC is not going to give him anyone higher right now, you know. Why not give him Delia? I think it's a perfect matchup. And if Delia wins, man, he's maybe one fight away from a title shot, man, you know.
I'm just selling fun fights here, Marcel. I'm trying to be Mr. Positive. People say, hey, you're very negative. So I'm trying to sell positivity, which is positively Tui Tuivasa versus Ante Delija. Somebody's getting knocked out. Somebody's going to, somebody get basically a one-punch knockout. To me, that's what sells fun. But you're talking logic, so I'm going to listen to you here. Let's talk at the rest of the card. This card delivered. You had a lot of knockouts, a lot of finishes, submissions. Overall, who are your standouts and the people we didn't mention that you went and looked? Damn, they look good. Damn, this person's ready to take the next step.
God was fucking nuts, man, and definitely at prelims. I mean, from the top of my head, I mean, we got to give a shout out to Sam Hughes, man. I mean, first fight of the card. First time ever she was a favorite going into a fight. All her other UFC fights was an underdog, and she showed up. You know, she was way better than Bannon. Completely dominated the fight, and then also got her out in the second round. You know, Rinat Fakhretdinov, he was an underdog going into the Andreas Gustafsson fight. Gustafsson, like you always say, I only have one styling that's going full retard. That's what Gustafsson says. And he did it as well against Rinat, and it didn't work for him. Rinat finished him within a minute. So that was also a good performance, man. I'm thinking what else was on the card because sometimes. Oh yeah, I mean Brett Tavares was like really disappointing showing by him, man, against Bricek. Bricek looked really good this time, and good for him, man, because his debut didn't show a lot of greatness. And I got to give Caio Fernandez also a big up, man. I mean, Harry Hartweg still cannot walk. He's in a wheelchair, man. That's how hard these kicks were, and he looked really good. Hartwig also short notice. Got to give him credit for that. You know, 4 or 5 days notice, coming from Cage Warriors, taking a fight a weight class up. But yeah, he didn't look good. And Sam Patterson, man, 4th finish in a row in the first round. I think that was a great stoppage by Rich Mitchell because Waters was pretty much out on his feet. Yeah, and let's not forget on the main card, Bukauskas, man, who with a nasty elbow knocked out Craig, and Paul Craig retired. All respect to Paul Craig, of course, you know. The funny thing is actually, remember when Paul Craig finished Magomed Ankalaev years ago in the last second on the Fight Night card. And after that fight, he said, like, if I didn't win this fight, I was retiring. And then Craig went through and he beat Shogun, he beat Jamal Hill. He beat Nikita Krylov, you know, so he still had a great career even after when he was thinking about retiring. Now he retired. There were some fun fights on this card, man. I mean, a lot of finishes. Only 2 fights went to a decision, the main event and obviously the Gomis fight that always goes to decision. But yeah, very fun card, man. I really enjoyed it.
We go from one card that's pretty fun to another card which Let's be honest. Dana's not gonna give a crap. So
No.
this is the, if you're tuning in, yes, it's gonna be UFC Noche, Saturday, September 13th. It is Diego Lopes versus Silva. All right, let's address the elephant in the room. Is Dana White gonna show up, or are we getting, one of the underlings? Are we is this gonna be one of those cards where Dana will send like a stunt double in there because he's too busy with the big sexy boxing fight, which you have said repeatedly, I do not give a damn. Canelo versus
Bro,
Crawford.
bro, if Dana shows up to Noche UFC, I sell my left testicle. You know? He's not gonna be there, dude. The whole UFC will be focused on the Canelo Crawford fight that day. So like all the important people to them will be at Canelo Crawford in Vegas, Only like some guys maybe from the UFC will be in San Antonio, Texas, but Dana won't be there. And I would be surprised if even Shelby Maynard or Hunter Campbell shows up, I don't know who's gonna show up there, but that's gonna be really like second tier event for them. You'll also see on the card, they didn't really fill out the card, in my opinion. It's like it's for Mexican Independence Day or whatever, but they have two Brazilians on the main event. I mean, I don't mind. For me, it's just a fight night card. They could have better just called it UFC San Antonio. Make more sense, but they want to call it Noche UFC. Yeah, interesting. That's an interesting main event for sure. Looking forward to that one. But overall, the card is really thin, in my opinion. I'm watching it for sure, but it's really thin.
So let's start off with the big question of the night.
Yeah.
Will you be there? Because since Dana's not there, you could probably show up. You sit ringside, try to get you on TV with one of your signs, like Dana sucks and swallows. See Hunter Campbell fears the Dutch. You could even bring a sign going, Rainer Ritter is UFC greatness. There's no security there. Who knows who you are? Because they're all in Vegas. So you could show up there and go, hey, yes, I'm with I'm Marcel Marceau with the AP Press. I'm covering this event. And you could just ask all the questions you want, make little jabs at Dana since he's not there and get away with it because they're not there. You can show up and not have to worry about people like, oh my God, it's Marcel Dorff. We need to throw that guy back off, over the border.
Nah, I'm doing my mind playing at home, so you're all good, dude, with your Marcel Marceau. No, now the thing is, like, you made me think I really don't like Dana. It's not like that, man. I mean, I'm just like more critical on certain things than maybe other people are, but I don't hate anybody, I'm good with the UFC pretty much, so I don't have a problem. But no, man, of course I'm not going to be there, man. Fucking Texas, no, I'm not going to be there. Listen, I would love to go to a UFC event once in the US. Never been to the US, so that would be great. But no, sorry.
So I get it. You're too fancy for Texas. You're like, all right,
no, absolutely
it's either
not.
Chicago or LA or New York. You'll go. Maybe Miami because they have the ladies, but Texas, you're like, no. Too much barbecue. There's no foie gras. There's no what is it we call this now? Oh yes, can you get the healthy choice? There's no healthy choice. You don't do those kind of cities and states.
There's no healthy choice. Yeah. It would be good for me to
Gluten
pick the
free.
healthy
That's the European way. Yeah, there's no gluten free menu in barbecue, so Marcel doesn't do that. He's like, no. I'm not going to Texas.
You have a weird view on the Europeans, man. I mean, a lot of Europeans still like the good old food and the good old drinking, man. But yeah, sometimes it's a little bit. Yeah, what can I say? A little bit too woke for me at some places. I'm not that like that, but man, who doesn't love a good steak or a good barbecue, man? Come on, dude. I mean, wouldn't you?
I'm just saying you were testing too much. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to Texas. So that's why that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So let's get back to the other story, Vo, which is the Noche card. Jean Silva, Diego Lopes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a damn good fight. So who wins? And is this the winner of this? Do they find themselves in the top 5 position?
So I can tell you already, if Jean Silva wins here impressively, he gets a title shot over Lerone Murphy. That's what I can tell you, because the UFC wants him as a champion. They love him, and he's very entertaining. Diego is a really good fighter. He's very good on the ground. The striking has become also pretty good. Um, yeah, very interesting fight, man. I mean, it's a 5-rounder. We're going to see if Silva has. This will be the first time in the UFC, at least, that he's booked for 5 rounds. And he has been finishing everybody so far. So that what makes it interesting. I think Lopes really made a big learning curve from when he started in the UFC to now. I think he really grown as a fighter. It's an interesting fight, man. Listen, if you ask me where do I put my money on, I don't put my money on anyone, but if I have to, I'll probably go with Silva. But I wouldn't be surprised if Lopes wins, man. It's an interesting fight. I mean, Lopes is pretty much normally, he is like a grappler, and Silva is a striker. But we saw that Lopes also can strike, and we have also seen that Silva can grapple. He finished Bryce Mitchell while everybody was like, either Silva's going to win by finish, by knockout, or Bryce going to tap him out, and then he taps out Bryce. So, gonna be a real interesting fight, man. It's not always that the main event is the most interesting fight of the card, but with this card, it's definitely the main event, which is the most interesting fight on the card. Really looking forward to this one, man. Gonna be a fucking banger.
What happens if Lopez wins? Because I
Yeah,
doubt the UFC goes, yeah, we'll give you Volkanovski right next. So if you're the UFC, how much of this is sort of a gamble? Like, oh crap,
that's
Lopez could screw this pooch here. We have
that's
plans for Silva, but that goddamn Brazilian Lopez, he might screw this whole pooch here for us.
That's pretty simple what they're going to do, man. I think, right now, I think Mossad should fight for the title, but he's not going to get it. So Murphy is probably in the driver's seat right now. Listen, if Lopes wins, Murphy is next for the title, most likely. If Silva wins and he wins impressively, they probably give it to Silva, and then they do Lopes versus Murphy, maybe. So that's what I think. I think if Jean Silva wins very good in a very fun way, and he does well, he probably goes over Murphy in the rankings, man, or gets a title shot over Murphy. And is that an honest thing to do? Maybe not. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised, man. The UFC loves this guy. I mean, Lopes is much higher ranked than he is, but he gets this opportunity, and everybody loves the fight. All fans are like, "Oh, this is an amazing fight." People love Jean Silva, love Diego Lopes. So if Jean Silva wins, he gets it over Murphy, and I feel bad for Murphy if that happens. But hey, that's probably going to happen. And if Lopes wins, Murphy gets it. It's pretty easy. They have 2 options. They actually have 3, but in their UFC mind, they only have 2. So.
Co-main event: Rob Font versus David Martinez. You've got
Mhm.
Jared Gordon versus Rafa Garcia. Which of the Mexican fighters between Martinez and Garcia has the better chance to win? And as you said, how much are they on this card? Because, well, it's UFC Noche, and yes, we have Mexicans on the Mexican Independence week after. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Martinez got the opportunity because Rosas Jr. was out, right? Because Font was supposed to fight him. I mean, it's a big opportunity for Martinez. The thing is, like, I think he is able to beat Rob Font. I think he can do it. The only problem is when he beats Rob Font, he will be in the rankings, and he will need to fight these guys in the rankings, and there will be a problem maybe because I don't think he's there yet. But Rob Font is a guy who is really like on the career side. He's still pretty decent, but he's also not making steps anymore, in my opinion. So he's like almost in the middle somewhere. So he either looks good against Martinez or Martinez will beat him, and I wouldn't be surprised. For the other fight you were asking, Rafa Garcia against Jared Gordon, I think Jared Gordon is better everywhere than Rafa Garcia, to be honest. So I think Jared Gordon wins that fight probably, even when it's Mexican. And it's not in Mexico. Let's not forget, it's in San Antonio. Probably a big Mexican population. That's okay. But it's not in Mexico themselves. So it's not really a home fight for Rafa Garcia. I think Gordon beats him, man. I mean, you got another guy who makes his debut, Santiago Luna against Kang Lee. Yeah, he also has a good chance. I think he's undefeated. I'm not sure. I think he is. Interesting fighter. Makes short notice. I think that fight got booked like I think 5 days ago, because Kang Lee was actually supposed to fight Martinez, but Martinez now fighting up front. Yeah, it's like, and there are some Mexicans as well on the prelims, but it's like if it was called UFC San Antonio, nobody would know how many Mexicans were on it. You know what I mean? Like with these other Noche cards, I felt like there were more Mexican on it, and more bigger names as well. You know, the biggest Mexican name who was on this card is probably Martinez. I mean, and people will maybe Calvin Gastelum, but Calvin Gastelum is American Mexican. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's. I mean, there's no Grasso, there's no Moreno, there's no Yair. You know, the bigger names, the bigger Mexican names, they're all not there. So yeah.
Give me a sneaky fight on this card that's worth it. Whether it's an undercard fight, a main card fight we've talked about. Give me somebody here that you're looking at going, it's gonna be a good little fight. Like Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos, or
can I give you two?
Sure.
No, the first, let's be honest. Suarez Lemos should be on the main card, shouldn't be on the prelims. You know, that's like two former title challengers. You know, and I think Suarez still has a big opportunity to become a champion in that division. Definitely now Verna and McKenzie are fighting for the title, and Zhang is not there at the moment. You know, so that fight. But a real fun fight, which I think is a fun fight, is Jesus Aguilar against Luis Gurule. I think that's a flyweight fight. Gurule looked pretty good in his debut, then faded and lost to Osborne, got stopped, you know. And Aguilar is a guy who almost always is the underdog, but only really decisively lost to Tatsuro Taira, you know. He also lost to Estevan, but the decisive loss was to Tatsuro Taira. And he got power, dude. He knocked out that Shannon Ross guy. He stopped Stuart Nickel, who was undefeated and was also favored over him in his debut. He's an interesting guy, you know. That's a fight I'm looking forward to, man. I mean, those are quick guys, fun matchup, and Gurule needs to make sure to win because he doesn't want to go 0-2 in the UFC. Because I really thought he was really good in the Contender Series. So yeah, those two fights are really fun, I think.
As I said before, Dana, Hunter Campbell, Nick Maynard, they're not going to be here. They're all going to be in Vegas.
Yeah.
This is going to be a one-off, unfortunately. There is now TKO boxing. They're talking more big fun fights. They're talking more, you know, Dana White involved in boxing here.
Yeah.
Does that hurt the product? I mean, I know that UFC just signed a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal. I know that, you know, right now they are the only real MMA game in town, but how much does it hurt when, you know, the guy who's supposed to be the face of the UFC and running the place is like, well, yeah, I'm doing UFC, but hey, I got my power slap, which I've heard they invited you, Marcel. You said, unless it's me versus Dana or me versus some internet troll that you're dealing with on Twitter, you're not doing it. You don't care how much they're offering. It's a no-go. I know, you know, then Dana will go, well, you know, I'm also doing boxing. Like, at what point does this really go, God damn it, Dana, just pick a lane and stick there?
It's what the priorities are, you know. You know, Dana goes where the most money is, and the most money probably still is in boxing, you know, so he'll go there. I mean, power slap, yeah, I don't give a shit. You know, everybody can enjoy it if they want, but it's really, I don't care about it at all, dude. I mean, for me, it's like a bunch of people who slap each other in the face, and people can say, yeah, but you have to train your neck. Yeah, suck it. You know, I don't give a shit. But yeah, Dana always loved boxing. That's his first love, you know. When he didn't even know about MMA before he was in boxing, so that's his big love. So he probably is more entertained by that. But I don't know, you know. Like I said, it depends on priorities. I just think it wasn't a really good idea to do a UFC card and a boxing card on the same date. I don't think it's a good idea, and definitely not. Listen, if it also was in Vegas, this one, perfect, I think, you know. But this is probably not a great idea. Plus, this fight actually was supposed to happen in Guadalajara, I think. It was supposed to happen in Mexico. They made it from a pay-per-view to a fight night, you know. So I wonder what they were going to do if they had it on the same. I don't know if Canelo Crawford was already scheduled back then when they were supposed to go to Guadalajara, you know. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see in the future, man. I'm just, and let's be honest, we see Dana sometimes also not on regular fight nights. He will be sometimes there, but there's also many times we don't see him at all, you know. So I don't think he really cares.
Oh, very happy, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we always love having on the show. I give you it is from MMA Oddsbreaker podcast and UFC Eurosport and Eurosport DL. I give you it is Marcel Dorff. So, Marcel, once again, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter, the Instagram, the podcast channel, your other 18 sites? Like, where can fans get the news and notes and good tidbits from you?
Yeah, man. First of all, thanks for having me as always. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Big Marcel24, Twitter and Instagram. Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section. MMA Oddsbreaker podcast with Adam Martin, previews and recaps of the UFC events. We're also talking about the Dana White Contender Series, and that's normally on a Sunday, but we did it on Saturday after the event yesterday because it was easier for both of us to do. So sometimes we'll be, oh, maybe I can give I can give a shout out next Monday. So that's like September 15th, and that's on 3 p.m. Eastern time. We will have Stefan Struve in the MMA Oddsbreaker show. So he will join Adam and me. We'll talk a little bit about his career and what he does now. He works for Eurosport as well. So yeah, he will be there. So that's maybe fun for people to check out.
Marcel Dorff, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always on a pleasure to have you on the show. We come back, a lot more going on here. Only on it's Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call podcast.com.